Hello everybody, mega goal number 5, third secondary, and this is the grammar lesson for unit number 3 on pages 36 and 37. Now let's take a look at the objectives as I have written them previously. The first one is the future perfect, the second one is the future perfect progressive, and the last one is the future with dependent time clause. Okay, so as you could realize that most or all of our objectives today are relevant to the future tense. كل أهدافنا اليوم لها علاقة بزمن المستقبل. Now please move on to pages number 36 and 37 and try to follow up with me as I explain this lesson, and I promise you that this lesson will be very easy. Now let's start with the first one, which is the future perfect. So we will look at the future perfect right now. And before we start, I'd like to say that these are one of the most advanced tenses من الأزمنة المتقدمة, okay? And you know that whenever we discuss any tense, لما نناقش أي زمن, we discuss how to use this tense, when to use this tense, and how is this tense formed, okay? نتكلم عن الزمن من ناحية متى نستخدمه وكيف نستخدمه وبرضو كيف نكون هذا الزمن. So let's start first with the future perfect اللي هو بالعربي معناها المستقبل التام. We use the future perfect to express that an action will be completed in the future before another time or an action in the future, okay? So لما يكون عندنا حدث بيكتمل في المستقبل، يعني طبعا قبل حدث ثاني أو قبل وقت في المستقبل. Okay, so we have here two events, حدثين. الحدث اللي بيكتمل في المستقبل قبل الوقت معين أو قبل حدث معين في المستقبل أسميه future perfect. I know that it may sound hard at the beginning or difficult, it may sound difficult at the beginning, ممكن يكون صعب بالبداية. But right now, I'm just gonna explain to you what we mean by that, okay? شو اللي نقصد فيه. So here, okay, we have the form. First, let's look at the form. نشوف كيف يتكون. Okay, with will, have, and past participle. طيب يتكون الفعل من will, have, وال past participle. So will have finished اللي هو التصريف الثالث للفعل. Okay, verb number 3. Okay, will have finished, will have left, will have worked, will have eaten, okay? So all of these are, what do we call them? The future perfect. The future perfect will, have, والتصريف الثالث للفعل. Okay? So let's take a look here at the sentence, okay? نشوف الجملة. By the 17th of December, or 17 December, I will have been fluent in English, okay? So let's take a look here. So will have been, this is what we call the future perfect. أسميها the future perfect, okay? لو تلاحظون إنه لو نرجع لخط الزمن إيش معناها؟ So by the 17th of December, okay? طبعا 17th of December بيكون في المستقبل. Okay? So any time at that يعني any time from now من الآن إلى 17th of December طبعا في المستقبل I will have been fluent in English. بكون طلق في اللغة الإنجليزية. Okay? So by 17th December I will have been fluent in English. So I have an action, هذا حدث, okay? الحدث هذا which is in the future perfect بيكون will be completed in the future before another action or another event in the future. واضح؟ So الحدث هنا مو هنا حدث، هنا الوقت okay اللي هي 17th of December، وهنا بيكون the future perfect، يعني راح أكون عندي طلاقة باللغة الإنجليزية by the 17th of December. Okay? So again, I use the future perfect, which is, okay, will, have, and the past participle, okay? To express that an action will be completed in the future before another time or an action in the future. So by the 17th of December, I will have been fluent in English. Will have been, this is what I call is the future perfect, okay, and it will be completed, okay, before another time in the future. راح يكتمل قبل حدث في أو زمن في المستقبل. So any time from now to the 17th of December بإذن الله راح أكون طبعا fluent in English, okay? So this is what we mean by the future perfect, okay? The future perfect. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the future perfect progressive. So just let me here, I'm just gonna minimize it, okay? So if you want to screenshot this, okay? Now let's move on to the future perfect progressive, okay? So future perfect progressive, what do we mean by that? How to use it and how is it formed? How is this tense formed, okay? Now the future perfect progressive, as you could see, we have future perfect progressive. طبعا عارفين future معناها will, okay, or going to, but here we're talking about will, okay? So have been and progressive عادة اللي هي verb ing اللي هي present participle. The present participle, for example, will have been working, okay? So the present participle, what do we mean by it? Is verb plus ing, okay? So this is how the future perfect progressive is formed, okay? So this is how to form the future perfect progressive. Will, have been, and present participle or verb plus ing. Now when do we use the future perfect progressive, okay? When do we use the future perfect progressive? Progressive يعني مستمر, okay? When we want to focus, okay, on the duration of an action, مدة حدث, okay? How long something going on, كم استمر طبعا, that will be happening in the future. طبعا الحدث بيكون متى في المستقبل, before another time or event in the future. برضو عندي حدثين, okay? لما أبغى أركز على الزمن للحدث, okay, يعني كم استمر في المستقبل قبل طبعا حدث ثاني أو وقت ثاني, okay? بوضح لكم, okay? طبعا انتوا عارفين ان formation of the future perfect progressive will have been present participle, okay? So by 2021, okay, so this is the time, هذا الوقت, okay? I will have been working here for 1 year. So here will have been working here is what I call future صح? Perfect progressive. Okay. Now let's take a look at طبعا what do they focus on the time, على الوقت, ركز على الوقت, okay? Now let's take a look here. So by 2021, you know that 2021 is in the future, okay? So by 2021, okay, I will have been working here for 1 year, okay? طبعا لو تلاحظون هنا have been working here for 1 year, okay, for 1 year. واضح؟ هنا طبعا راح يعني how long something will be going on. أنا أبي أركز كم استمر من الوقت في المستقبل قبل حدث آخر, okay, أو زمن آخر. واضح؟ Okay, now let's take a look. Sometimes by before another action or before time, قبل وقت أو قبل حدث في المستقبل. By the time she arrives, by the time she arrives, I will have been cooking for 6 hours, okay? So where is the future perfect progressive? Have been cooking, okay? Will have been cooking. This is what I call the future perfect progressive. Now by the time she arrives, this is the action. خلاص طبعا في المستقبل، الحدثين في المستقبل، الحدث الأول هنا الحدثين في المستقبل. This is an action and this is an action as well. Okay, which one will be completed first in the future؟ طبعا هذا. I will have been cooking. طبعا وأبغى أركز على الوقت for 6 hours. أنا بكون طبخت لمدة 6 ساعات by the time she arrives. okay. الحدثين هنا في future. okay. الحدثين في future. But which one will be completed first؟ أي واحد بيكتمل أول؟ have been cooking راح يكتمل أول. okay. طبعا وأبغى أركز على الوقت for 6 hours عشان كذا استخدمت future perfect progressive. right? okay. So this will be the first event for the future. okay. While this one, the second one, okay, the second event in the future will be by the time she arrives. By the time she arrives. okay. So is it clear right now? I know it may sound difficult at first, but then when you practice more sentences and you know the difference, تعرفون الفرق between the future perfect and the future perfect progressive. The future perfect progressive mainly focuses on يركز على الوقت. okay. But both actions اثنينهم يحدثون في المستقبل ويكون عندنا أكثر من حدث. okay. So is that clear? Now let's move on to the next one, which is the future with dependent time clause. okay. This is very easy, very easy. okay. Now let's take a look. So right now we will be talking about the last objective of this lesson, which is the future with dependent clause. okay. With dependent time clause. I'll eat lunch when I finish my homework. So here, if you could realize that we have two clauses, عندنا two clauses. I'll eat lunch. okay, this is the first one, sorry. I'll eat lunch. okay, I'll eat lunch. This is the first clause, so this is the first one. okay, and when I finish my homework is the second clause. okay, so this one is the second clause. okay, so I'll eat lunch when I finish. Right now we have two clauses. okay, right? So right now we have two clauses, and before we move on, I'd like to explain to you what do we mean by the clause. The clause is يعني يتكون من subject و verb، فاعل وفعل. okay, so where is the subject here? The subject is I. okay, where is the verb? Well, okay, here, so this is the verb. Now that one, I is the subject and this one is the verb. okay, so right now we have two clauses. Now right now, which one is the main clause? Which one gives you the main information? I'll eat, so here, I'll eat lunch is, what do I call it? Yes, the main clause. okay, now the second one, when I finish my homework, is what I call it, the time clause, that gives you the time information. When I finish my homework. Homework is, what do I call it? Is the time clause. right? So this is the main clause, and this is the time clause. The one that gives you the main information اللي تعطيك المعلومة الأساسية is what I call the main clause, and the time clause gives you the information about time. okay, so I'll eat lunch when I finish my homework. okay, so right now if you realize لو تلاحظون the main clause is in the future. عادة المين clause الأساسي okay يكون في future with either will or be going to. عارفين إن future إما will or be going to. While the time clause okay is in the simple present okay, and usually it starts يبدأ عادة ب when, before, after, until, and since. Okay, so I'm gonna look at another sentence. When he finishes working on his invention, he is going to let me try it out. Okay, so right now, sorry, here when. So when he finishes working on his invention, if you could realize, this is what we call is the what? Yes, this is what we call is the time clause. And you realize that this tense is in the simple present في المضارع البسيط, while he is going to let me try it is what we call is the main clause. في أي زمن؟ في future, في المستقبل. واضح؟ في المستقبل. اوكي طبعا انتوا عارفين انه time clause يبدأ when, before, after, since, until. طبعا لما نبدأ بالtime word لازم يكون في comma in the middle. Okay, when for example when she arrives, okay, I'll be doing my homework. Okay, so this is exactly what we mean. time clause دائما يكون في simple present. main clause دائما يكون في future with either will or be going to. So it's very easy, very clear. Just you need to practice making up sentences using time clause and main clause all together. Okay, so let's move on to the exercises. We will try to do each exercise all together. So B, use either the future perfect or the future perfect progressive to complete each sentences. In some cases, both forms are possible. So future perfect, you know that it is will, okay, have, and the past participle, right? Okay, and the future perfect progressive is will, have, been, and present verb ing اللي هي present participle. Okay, and here we focuses on time. Okay, but some cases both forms are used. ممكن استخدم الاثنين. Okay, now by 2000 so this has been already answered. My parents got married in 1990. By 2020, they will have here married, okay, because I cannot say marrying, okay, so we'll have married for how long? 30 years. Okay, it's just because we cannot say marrying, okay, I haven't heard it. Okay, now you can do the rest by yourself. طبعا it might be confusing, ممكن يكون الواحد يعني يشتبه عليه, but here is said both forms are possible. ممكن استخدم الاثنين. Okay, now put the verbs in parentheses in either the future tense with will or be going to. Okay, so either the time clause, you know that this is the main clause. Okay, and or the present tense. The present tense is usually used with the time clause. طبعا عارفين إنه يبدأ أحيانا when, since, until, before. The company, okay, manufacture the parts when they receive the order. Okay, طبعا هنا when they receive, this is the time clause, so this one will be in the present, and since that this is a plural, it will be will they receive. Okay, here طبعا this is the main clause, will manufacture or is going to be manufactured. Okay, now after I make $1 million, I buy my parents a house. So here after I, okay, طبعا هنا present لأنها time clause. هنا will buy or ممكن هنا أفضل إني أقول going to. So I am going to buy. Okay, I am going to buy. ليش استخدم going to buy؟ لأن هنا شيء أنا مخططة له، مو something right now I'm gonna do it. Okay، والله عادة أشياء يعني في المستقبل ما تحتاج تخطيط، بس be going to عادة تحتاج إلى more planning، بس اثنينهم في future. Now this is our lesson. Probably you will find it a bit confusing or difficult, but I promise you as you practice more you will get through it. أنا عارفة أنه ممكن يكون الدرس صعب، مثل ما قلت لكم هذا من الأزمنة المتقدمة جدا. يعني it's very it's very complicated a bit, but it will be easy when you practice more. ودائما I recommend أن تحفظون جملة وتقيسون عليها. This is how I usually recommend it. يعني لما يكون في أزمنة صعبة الفهم أو الاستيعاب أحفظ المثال وقيس عليه. So I hope that you have enjoyed our lesson. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video, and if you have a question regarding this lesson, just leave it in the comment box below, and till next time, have a good one.